Hello guys, welcome to Storytimes. Thanks for joining us. Today we've got a brand new story to share with you. Support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing. I promise, even more interesting stories. Also, let us know in the comments which city you're watching from. Now, let's start today's story. She said she should have chosen my brother. One comment destroyed our 12-year marriage in minutes. During a fight, my wife said, "I regret not giving your brother a chance when I had it." I froze. She smirked and added, "What? You knew he was always hotter than you." I didn't say a word, just left a note on the mirror. "Since you regret the marriage, I regret the mortgage." 5 weeks later, she's sleeping in her car. I never thought I'd be posting one of these. But here I am at 3 a.m., bourbon in hand, trying to make sense of how 12 years of marriage imploded in under a minute. It started with something so small. I was working late again, third time that week. Construction project downtown, running behind schedule. And as site manager, that's on me. I got home around 11 p.m., exhausted, covered in dust and sweat. All I wanted was a shower and sleep. Diana was waiting in the kitchen, arms crossed, that look on her face I'd come to know well over the years. The silent treatment first, then the comments about my hours, how I prioritize work over her. The usual stuff. Normally I'd apologize, promise to make it up to her, maybe plan something nice for the weekend. But that night, something in me just snapped. "What do you want from me, Diana? The overtime is paying for the kitchen renovation you insisted we needed. The one you said couldn't wait another year." That's when the real fight started. Voices raised, old arguments recycled, that familiar dance of a marriage running on fumes. Until she said it. "I regret not giving your brother a chance when I had it." Everything stopped. The room went quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator. I must have looked stunned because she smirked, actually smirked and twisted the knife deeper. "What? You knew he was always hotter than you?" For context, my brother Mike and I were never close. 3 years younger, always the charmer, the athlete. Diana met us both at the same party 13 years ago. She chose me, or so I thought. I didn't say a word. Couldn't. Just turned around, went upstairs, locked myself in the bathroom, and sat on the edge of the tub for what felt like hours. Her words played on repeat in my head. Not just what she said, but how she said it. Like she'd been thinking it for years. Like she'd been settling all this time. The next morning, I got up before her. Shower, dress, coffee. Routine motions while my mind worked overtime. This wasn't a heat-of-the-moment comment. This was something she'd been carrying, maybe fantasizing about. My brother. The golden boy. I wrote the note with her lipstick right on the bathroom mirror where she couldn't miss it. "Since you regret the marriage, I regret the mortgage. Dave." Then I left for work, turned off my phone, and started making calls from my office line. First call. My lawyer, Philip. Known him since college. Explained everything, including the state of our finances. Second call. My bank. Third, my brother. Surprisingly, that conversation was shorter than expected. "Mike, did you and Diana ever have a thing?" Silence on the line, then. "Dave, what's this about?" "Just answer the question." He sighed. "She kissed me at your engagement party. Said she was having doubts. I shut it down and never told you because she swore it was just cold feet." Christ, Dave. That was 12 years ago. Fourth call. My boss. Requesting emergency personal leave. Fifth call. Locksmith. By 5 p.m., when Diana would normally be coming home from her admin job at the dental office, I was sitting in our living room, waiting. I'd already moved my personal belongings to a hotel and set up mail forwarding. I'd opened a new personal bank account where my future paychecks would be directed. I'd consulted with Philip about the legal process ahead. He'd cautioned me that despite the house being in my name, we'd need to follow proper legal channels for separation. Looking back, I'm not proud of how cold I was that day. But hearing your wife of 12 years say she should have picked your brother will do things to a man. Things that can't be undone. She pulled into the driveway at 5:22 p.m. I watched through the window as she parked. When she entered, I was sitting at the kitchen table, a suitcase packed beside me, my emotions locked down tight. The preliminary separation agreement Philip had helped me draft over the past 10 hours sat on the table. Not final divorce papers yet. Those would come later. But the first step. "Diana," I said as she set her purse down. "Our marriage is over." She stared at me, mouth open. "What are you talking about? Because of one stupid fight?" "No. Because you showed me who you really are. Who you've always been." I handed her a printed screenshot of our accounts, showing I had transferred my latest paycheck to a new personal account. leaving our joint funds untouched. I'm staying at the Marriott while we sort this out legally. I've contacted a lawyer. Are you freaking kidding me? Her voice rose with each word. Over a comment? People say things during fights, Dave. Not things like that, I said, standing. Not unless they've been thinking them for years. She switched from anger to panic, reaching for my arm. Dave, please. I didn't mean it. I was just trying to hurt you. You know Mike means nothing to me. That's exactly the problem, Diana. You wanted to hurt me. You enjoyed hurting me. And you used my brother to do it. I picked up my suitcase. Philip will be contacting you about next steps. I suggest you get your own lawyer. She followed me to the door, alternating between threats and tears. I didn't respond to either, just walked to my truck and drove away. I stayed at the hotel for 2 weeks. Diana remained in the house. Legally, I couldn't just kick her out, as Philip explained, regardless of whose name was on the mortgage. During those 2 weeks, I only communicated through Philip. I had him file for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. Our house had always been a point of pride for me. I'd bought it before we met. A fixer-upper in a decent neighborhood. During our marriage, I'd put thousands of hours and dollars into renovations. Diana had been enthusiastic about design choices early on. But over the years, her interest shifted to just demanding upgrades, without appreciating the work or cost involved. The most recent demand had been a kitchen renovation that would cost upwards of $30,000. Work I'd been putting in overtime to afford. The text started almost immediately after I left. Diana, what the F, Dave? You can't just leave like this. This is our marriage. Diana, answer your phone. You're being psychotic. Over a stupid fight? I didn't mean what I said. Then, as reality set in, please come home. We can talk about this. Don't throw away 12 years. I miss you. Please, Dave. Can we just talk? I got a new phone number and instructed Philip to handle all communications. Diana's family tried reaching out, mostly to berate me. I blocked their numbers one by one. My brother called offering support, which surprised me. We hadn't been close in years. After 2 weeks of legal back and forth, I finally agreed to meet Diana face to face. Neutral location, public place. Philip arranged it, advising me to stick to facts and avoid emotional confrontations. I got there early, saw her waiting at the coffee shop table, looking smaller somehow. Makeup couldn't hide the dark circles under her eyes. You look like shit, she said as I sat down. You don't have the high ground here, Diana. She started in on how I was overreacting. How married people say hurtful things during fights. How one comment shouldn't erase 12 years. I listened until she ran out of steam. Are you finished? I asked, opening my laptop. Because I have some things to show you. First, the mortgage statements. Every payment for 12 years from my account. Next, the home improvement receipts. $89,000 over the years, my credit cards. Then the property tax records. Finally, our prenup. The one her father had insisted on to protect her interests. Because I was just a construction worker with uncertain prospects. The prenup that specifically listed the house as separate property, not marital property, as it was purchased before our marriage. The prenup that even had a clause about home improvements not creating marital equity if paid from separate funds. The prenup that her father's expensive lawyer had drafted, thinking it would protect her, never imagining it would instead protect me. You have 2 options, I said, closing the laptop. Sign the divorce papers as Philip has drawn them up, or we can let a judge decide. But understand this. According to our prenup, the house remains my separate property. The considerable equity we've built, also mine. Because I paid for every improvement with my separate funds, which your father's lawyer so helpfully specified in paragraph 12. I've lived there for 12 years, she said. I have rights. We can argue about those rights in court if you want. Philip says even with the prenup, a judge might award you something for the duration of marriage. But it'll cost both of us thousands in legal fees. And given the clear language in the agreement, you won't get much. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't need to. The couple at the next table definitely heard, from the way they suddenly became very interested in their muffins. She started crying then. Where am I supposed to go? My salary barely covers anything. You know that. You've been living in the house for 2 weeks while I stay at a hotel. Use that time to figure it out. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Then I remembered the smirk. You have until the end of the month to decide. Either sign the papers as they are, or we go to court. I've also filed for possession of the house during divorce proceedings, given that it's my separate property. Philip says the judge will likely grant it. The papers offered her a small cash settlement, enough for first and last month's rent plus security deposit on a modest apartment, in exchange for an uncontested divorce. It was far less than she might have received after a court battle, but it was clean, fast, and didn't require expensive legal fees on either side. During the next 3 weeks, Diana's situation deteriorated. She finally moved out of the house after the judge granted my motion for exclusive possession, reluctantly going to her sister's cramped apartment. The sister has 3 kids and a small place. Her husband started complaining about the arrangement after just a few days. Diana's father, retired and living on a fixed income, couldn't help much financially. Her mother suggested she find a cheaper apartment. Diana couldn't afford even the cheapest studio apartment in our area on her dental office salary. Her credit was still terrible. No leasing office would touch her without a cosigner, and no one was volunteering. By week 4, tensions at her sister's place reached a breaking point, and she ended up sleeping in her car some nights. The car that was still legally mine, but that I'd allowed her to keep using temporarily. Still refusing to sign the papers, still believing she could wait me out. After consultation with Philip, I went through proper legal channels to reclaim the vehicle. Since it was solely in my name, and Diana had no ownership claim to it, the court approved. I had it properly repossessed in week 5, with advance legal notice to Diana. That's when she finally broke. Showed up at Philip's office, mascara streaked down her face, wearing the same clothes as the day before, and signed everything. The settlement meant she walked away with enough cash for a small apartment deposit and first month's rent, plus her personal belongings. Nothing more. My brother later told me he'd heard through mutual friends that she had tried getting him to intervene on her behalf. He declined. That's when he finally opened up about other incidents over the years. Diana making suggestive comments at family gatherings when I wasn't in earshot, accidentally brushing against him at holidays, asking probing questions about his relationships. He said he never told me because he didn't want to create drama, and he honestly thought she was just being flirtatious by nature. It's been 6 months now. The divorce is final. In accordance with our prenup and the settlement she signed, I kept the house, both cars, and my retirement accounts. She got her personal belongings and the cash settlement I'd offered, less than I would have spent fighting a prolonged court battle, and significantly less than the 12 years of equity she might have felt entitled to without the prenup. I heard through a mutual friend in the dental industry that she's now living with a coworker, saving for a security deposit, telling anyone who will listen what a monster I am. This same friend occasionally updates me on Diana's situation, which is how I know her version of events differs substantially from reality. Her family won't speak to me, which is fine. My brother and I are talking more than we have in years. Our relationship had been strained by more than just Diana. Childhood competitiveness, different career paths, geographic distance, but removing her influence has helped us reconnect. Learning about her pattern of behavior with him made me realize she'd been subtly driving a wedge between us for years. Some nights I sit on my deck, beer in hand, and wonder if I went too far. If I was too ruthless, too cold. But then I remember her face when she said it. That frickin' smirk. She meant to hurt me. Meant to humiliate me with the one comparison she knew would cut deepest. And she enjoyed it. So no, I don't think I went too far. Some words can't be unsaid. Some bells can't be unrung. Some marriages don't deserve a second chance. Thanks for the support, guys. To answer some common questions. Yes, the prenup was properly executed and reviewed by attorneys on both sides. Her dad made sure of that, ironically. It specifically protected premarital assets and even had language about home improvements paid from separate funds. No, there were no kids, thankfully. Diana always said she wanted to wait until we were more stable. Looking back, I wonder if she was just hedging her bets. For those saying, I should have kicked her out immediately. That's not how the law works. Even with a prenup and the house in my name, married couples develop legal residency rights regardless of whose name is on the deed. That's why I had to file for exclusive possession during the divorce process. Some of you asked if there were warning signs before this. There were, but I ignored them. Comments about Mike's promotions while I just managed construction sites. Comparing our vacations to his business trips. Small things that seemed harmless at the time. And for the guy who asked if Mike is actually better looking than me, screw you. But also yes, former college baseball player still has all his hair. But that's not the point. Update, it's been a year now. Diana reached out recently through a mutual friend wanting to clear the air. I declined. Some doors are better left closed. I'm dating casually, focusing on work and myself. The house is finally finished. Ironically completed the kitchen renovation she wanted so badly. Life isn't perfect, but it's mine. And that's enough.